It is often said that the true measure of any man is not how they stand in moments of comfort and convenience, but how they stand in moments of challenge and controversy. Michael Hilber is one of those true heroes who has stood tall in his moments of horrific personal catastrophe, and who has had the capacity to persevere, to continue onwards in the face of great emotional and physical pain and adversity, and survive a disaster that is unthinkable to the average person. In 2008, 53-year-old Mike Hilber was on his way to work driving down a country road in rural Anoka County, Minnesota. He was on his way to teach at a technical college about 40 miles from home. He stopped at a four-way stop intersection, looking both ways, and when it was clear, he drove into the intersection and his life changed forever. An 80,000-pound tractor trailer flew right through the stop sign, never stopping for 1 minute, and smashed into Mike's Prius full blast. The truck driver later admitted he never saw the stop sign. Mike's little Prius was mangled almost beyond recognition. The semi struck him on the driver's side. All that was left was twisted metal and broken glass. Looking at the crash scene photos, it's hard to believe Mike survived. But Mike hung on to dear life, if only by a thread. He suffered a complex and complicated pelvic fracture requiring subspecialist attention. He also suffered multiple pelvic fractures and nerve palsy. In addition, he had a large abdominal wound with evisceration referred to in the medical records as an abdominal burst. He underwent surgery after surgery. They couldn't stop his internal bleeding, and he had to be rushed back into the operating room to be reopened and repacked time after time after time. After 16 surgeries, rotating between 3 hospitals, months of rehab, and over $1.2 million in medical bills, Mike is still left with constant pain and a disability of a horrific disfigurement of his abdomen, as well as a seriously diminished capacity to enjoy life as he once did. Today, the Insider Exclusive goes behind the headlines and visits with Fred Soucy, Mike's lawyer, Mike, and his wife, Kathy, to see Mike's amazing story of incredible courage and determination to survive and recover from these horrific injuries, and to see the amazing love and support of Mike's wife, Kathy. Hi, I'm Steve Murphy, and this is the Insider Exclusive, live from Anoka, Minnesota at Soucy Law. It is my great privilege to introduce Fred Soucy to the show. Welcome, Fred.
Thank you for having me, Steve.
I understand that of all the attorneys in Minnesota that last year, or was in 2008?
2008.
You were selected the Attorney of the Year.
Yeah, I was an Attorney of the Year in Minnesota as named by the Minnesota lawyer.
Okay. One of the cases that I believe might have been included in that is the Mike Hilber case, correct?
That's correct. Yep. Mike was in a Prius and a big semi-tractor blew a stop sign and hit his vehicle on the driver's side.
He was driving to work, wasn't he? Tell us a little bit about what was going on.
Yeah, Mike was on his way to work. He lived about 40 miles from the vocational technical school where he loved his job of teaching tech students. Pulled out from a stop sign and his world changed drastically.
He came to a stop, an intersection.
He did.
It was a 4-stop intersection.
4-way stop intersection, that's correct.
He had the right of way.
He had the right of way, and he looked to his left, he looked to his right, and he actually waited for the oncoming car going the opposite direction on the same road to proceed. And when that proceeded into the intersection, and there weren't other vehicles at the stop signs that he had to worry about, he proceeded into the intersection. And this truck, the driver never saw the stop sign. I don't think he ever saw Mike pull out until it was way too late.
Tell us a little bit about Mike.
Well, Mike is not only a very, very dedicated teacher for decades. He's been a dedicated teacher, but he's also been very happy to coach diving.
When you bring up a coach dedicated in order to encourage kids to be outstanding athletes, they have to have perseverance, determination. The things that he taught other people are the same things that he used to survive this accident, weren't they?
Yes, and as I sit here with you, having met him and having read the records, he had to be fit, determined, and tenacious, because he hung on to life by a thread. He had what's called a burst injury to his abdomen. And he had so many different bleeds that they almost lost him on several different occasions. They just could not control the internal bleeding. And some of the photographs graphically show the result of that, which is they had to cut him open, stem to stern, keep him open, put just a mesh back on there, and by the time they were able, after having saved his life countless times, to put him back together, there was no muscular wall. He suffered severe fractures to his pelvis. He suffered severe fractures to his ilium.
What is the uniqueness of catastrophic injury cases? I mean, a lawyer referred, they're complicated cases, aren't they?
The way that I feel about working on catastrophic cases, and we handle explosions, and we handle electrocution cases, we handle semi cases and product cases, and I handle many cases against utilities, and they're huge. And they send the best lawyers that money can buy after you to defeat your client, to kill your client's case each and every time. And the way I like to think about it is that type of case is why my mother met my father, so that I can do this kind of work for those people. I found my goal. I found my niche in the professional world. This is what I was meant to do.
All right, great. Fortunately, we have Mike with us today, and we're going to bring him on right now.
I'm looking forward to that. Thank you for having both of us here.
It's my great pleasure to introduce Mike Hilber to the show. Welcome to the show, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate
I have reviewed all of the photos and, the accident photos and your medical photos and charts, and my hat goes off to you. Fred is 100% right when he said you must have a lot of perseverance, tenacity, determination, because boy, oh boy. Take us back to that day. You're driving your Prius.
I am. I was on my way to school.
Yeah.
It was right after our Christmas break. I stopped at a stop sign. I've been in that intersection 200 times or more. I mean, that's the way I go to work every day. Stopped for the intersection, and that's it. I don't remember anything after that until I woke up about 7 weeks later.
7 weeks. Was he in an induced coma, medically induced coma?
Yeah, and there were several times where it wouldn't have mattered whether it was medicine or not. He would have been comatose. But yes, he was in an induced coma to try to lessen suffering, but also keep different body functions under medical control.
Yeah. So you woke up 7 weeks later.
Yeah, right around that time.
And when you woke up, what were your thoughts? What did you think?
The first thing I remember is my wife Kathy telling me that, just relax. You've been in a car accident. The doctors are here to tell you what's going on. And at that point, I still didn't realize totally what was going on because I thought it was the day after.
Okay. And what did the doctors tell you?
At that point, they had just finished the reconstruction of my pelvic area. So they were telling me how long it took to do this operation, and to just that nothing's going to be able to move for a while. So don't get excited if you can't have any feeling down there, or if nothing's moving right now or anything. It's because of what they did to repair that part of it, and that it's going to take a long haul to come back and go to where I am. They said it worked as best that they could do, and they're really pleased with as well as the operation took.
How long was the operation?
You know, at that point, I don't really recall.
You've had 16 surgeries, haven't you?
Yeah, probably more than that.
More than that.
His operation was very complicated in terms of the pelvic fractures because they were so busy saving his life the first several weeks. He could not have this reconstruction of his pelvis, his ilium, all of the multiple fractures.
That's right. That's right. They had to wait until my internal injuries were stable before they could even go into that. So, I mean, they didn't do that operation until the end of January.
How long were you in the hospital? You were in 3 hospitals, right?
I was in 3 different hospitals. I was there until mid-April.
So a period of what, 4 months?
4.5 months, yeah.
4 months, 5 months?
Yeah.
And today, how are you today?
I am doing the best I feel I can for what has happened. You know, you go back to live your life. You know, this is my second life, is how I kind of put it.
Yeah.
This is my second life. So you make the best of what you have now. That's the only way I can say that.
But you're in pain today.
I think I'm always going to be in pain.
How about the emotional adjustment?
That's been tough.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry, you know, just talking about it now, it brings back the memories of how tough it was, what my family went through. I don't remember much, but I remember what my family went through, and it was tough.
And what did your family go through?
You know, it was tough. I think to have them see me there, not knowing that if I was going to live or die, if I was going to be able to hold them or touch them or talk to them or anything like that again, it was tough. Again, I get emotional. I apologize for that. It's just tough. Mm-hmm. It's tough to think about it because I try not to. I mean, I see it every day because of what's there, and I see the scars, and I know it's there. But it's a tough thing. It was tough for my family than it was on me, and I just think it's something that you don't want anybody to go through.
To surviving this kind of an accident, does that mean something special for you?
Yeah, I think it does.
What is
to my family, and
what does it mean to you?
Well, you have a second chance at life. You look at things a little differently. To be able to walk again, to be able to talk again, things that you took for granted. I mean, everyday things that we do, you take for granted. I mean, you know, for a while I couldn't talk.
Really?
For that whole time I couldn't walk. I couldn't move my legs. I couldn't do any of that.
I understand that there was a further complication. You got an infection in the hospital.
I did. It's called MRSA. It's not a real uncommon thing to have. Everybody has that from what I told in their body, but it's not it's something that's with me all the time now, and it's always on my mind because of the fact that you know, anything could happen to me, and if I get hurt again or something doesn't go right, that infection it's serious. It's just a real serious infection that everybody has, and it's a staph infection that I had that there's no cure for. When they fix this, all inside here is not all there.
Yeah.
I have different layers of some synthetic things that they put in there, and of course, to tear that or to anything that tears around that area is serious because I don't have any more skin left to be able to pull together to fix that.
Yes.
So there's no muscle in certain areas. There's skin that if it does tear, I don't have skin to pull back and to replace that. They did skin grafts for my legs to cover that in the beginning, and that was removed, and they pulled things back together as best they can. But you have to be very careful. I'm always careful to make sure that when my grandkids are playing with me that they don't jump on that area. And you don't want to put a lot of weight, and gain a lot of weight to stretch that or anything like that. So I'm aware of it all the time. I mean, to me, it's almost very self-conscious to a point because you can feel that. Every time you touch it, every time you push on it, there's pain there. You know it's there.
You're an amazing individual.
Yeah,
Just
a lot of
listening
things
to you.
that. A lot of good things that happened for me that people did.
One of the reasons we do these shows is because of people like yourself. You have a great lawyer.
Fantastic.
but you also, it's because you were intent on making it, and that's what really comes up to it. What do you think of your lawyer, by the way?
Well, I don't think any of this would have happened the way it did without Fred here. It's not the case or the how do you say, legal things that we're going through that makes the difference. It's the emotional and the support,
Yeah.
and the backup and the feel good and the knowing that no matter what happened, whether I would have made it or not, that my family would have been taken care of. That makes a difference. Yeah. And I'm just so fortunate that my son was able to find him, and it did great for us. And again, I think, like I say, the legal aspect, of course, is something that most of us don't understand.
Fortunately, you brought your wife here today,
I did.
didn't you?
I did.
So we'd like to have her join us right now. We're very pleased to have Kathy, Mike's wife, with us today. Welcome to the show, Kathy.
Thank you.
These were trying times, weren't they?
Yes, they were.
Take us back to that day. When did you first learn that Mike had been in this horrific accident?
Well, I think it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and as far as I knew, he would have been at work at that time, and there was a deputy sheriff that came knocking on the door, and I was like, this isn't good, and I opened up the door, and he asked to speak to me about something, and so I let him in, and he told me that Mike had been in a really horrible accident on his way to work, and at first you go numb, and then I just was like, oh my gosh, and he gave me a card to call, that he was in the emergency ward in a hospital that was like 52 miles away from where I'm at.
Well, you knew he was a fighter, didn't you?
Yes.
And that was something that
It's always been in him to be.
So you went to the hospital, over the next 4 months, you went almost every day, right?
I was there almost every day except for the 2 days where there was a snowstorm, and we just being down to the one car at that point, and not wanting to have an accident or something, trying to get down there. And at that point, he was holding his own and everything.
Good. It's amazing.
Yeah.
When I look at that car.
Yeah, it was just, it was pretty amazing.
I don't know, did the car save your life? Toyota needs a good word right now.
It did, it did, because
Seriously?
side airbags on that car. And,
Toyota wants to hire you.
Yeah, really. I mean, if you saw
that,
that,
we could have done a commercial for him at the time I said
I'll
that.
be sure to notify them.
we should. Yeah, no, really.
So that you say the car saved your life?
Well, if you look at all the moments that happened in this whole situation.
Yeah.
When I first bought that car, when I ordered it, because that was at the time when the Prius was being, kind of everybody had to order one before you could get one. It didn't have side airbags in it. The one I ordered, the one that was brought in, they called and said, "Listen, there's one that that is the same as yours, except it has side airbags. The person didn't want it. Would you like to pick this up, now instead of 2 months later?" I said, "Sure."
So the side airbag helped save your life.
If you look at that car, and what happened, I didn't have any head injuries at all. Everything was internal. Everything was broken, but no head injuries. And
80,000 pounds. How fast was the truck traveling?
At least 55.
Hitting you on the driver's side.
Yes.
Hitting right into you.
Right, exactly on the driver's door.
Jeez.
Exactly on the driver's door.
Now, how has life been since he's been home? How's it been? He's told, I'll tell you before you answer the question, he told me you're a tremendous inspiration to him because you've been there the whole time.
Well, I was really, there again, there was a set of circumstances where the job that I held, I guess you could call being downsized because they had some cutbacks. So I was given an option to take a severance package. which meant I was working part-time at a bookstore, and I just told him to take me off the schedule, and I still had a little bit of income coming in, and that so my job was basically being there and coordinating things, because when you get in a situation like that, because they couldn't repair everything in one place, you have to run interference for them, because it was just important to have that coordination and that.
Yeah, well, thank God he has you. And you guys,
since you were 19 and I was 17,
we've been together a long time.
So how long have you been married?
Well, Michael, 37 years.
37 years.
Through thick and thin.
Yeah, for better, for worse.
That's right.
Yeah.
This is probably the worst. So.
Yeah.
Kathy, I want to thank you very much
for
coming here today. It means a lot to us, and it means a lot to Mike.
Always.
We're going to bring your son on, Rob. Okay, so let's do that right now.
All right.
I'm very pleased to have Rob, Mike's son, with us today. Welcome to the show, Rob.
Thank you.
Take us back to that day when the deputy sheriff showed up at your house, because I understand you were home at the time, right?
Yes, I was.
And he said there was a serious accident, that your dad had been in a serious accident. What was going through your head?
It was really, really frightening, because I just remember my mom kind of hollering for me right away, and kind of, I think it was something like, "Oh my God, Rob, no." And I remember I was kind of disoriented, because I had been asleep, and I just remember coming up the stairs and just being totally scared, because my dad had just dealing with his cancer and stuff like that, and I'm thinking,
gee, I didn't even know about this.
What now, kind of thing. He's finally starting to get better. What now? And I just remember her saying, we have to get down to the hospital, and I remember saying, well, trying to have her kind of walk me through what happened, and kind of trying to get my bearings at the same time. It was pretty terrifying.
So you're a cancer survivor too?
I am. I was just finishing my treatment.
Wow.
I had just finished treatment, and
God means for you to be here.
He does.
Toyota needs you.
I guess so. I hadn't seen my oncologist. That was the last time I was supposed to see him, in January.
So he's got to be high up on your list, doesn't he?
He always has been.
What do you think about your dad?
I love my dad. My dad's, he's always kind of been there for me through anything that I've ever dealt with. Even if he didn't like my actions, or maybe didn't support what I was doing, he always supported me. Mm-hmm. And he never quit on me, never threw in the towel on me, and I wouldn't do the same for him.
You're in school now?
Yes, I am.
What are you studying?
Chemical dependency.
Oh, really?
Yes.
So you're going to be a counselor?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
That's a very interesting career. You'll meet a lot of interesting people in your life. Well, I want to thank you very much for being on this program, seriously.
Thank you.
Your dad's an amazing guy, and Mike, my hat's off to you.
Thank you.
You just keep coming back, don't you?
I have to.
Thank you both for being on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Fred, Mike, and you are the reason we do these shows.
Thank you.
It's amazing, his story and what you were able to do for him.
Yeah, Mike is, I feel this way about Mike. I mean, it's what I have for Mike truly is best said is just love. I just love the guy. I love his wife. They're wonderful people, and I feel their love for me. And to be able to do this kind of work for them, I just can't tell you what a blessing it is.
Well, perhaps that's the reason why you were selected the Minnesota Lawyer of the Year in 2008.
We just always do our best for our clients, and we've been fortunate.
I want to thank you for being on the program.
Thank you very much. Appreciate being here.
I'm sure we'll have other stories later on.
I hope so.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us. You can get more information about our guest and the issues at insiderexclusive.com.